Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be making together mini layered cakes. To make the genoise or the cake, we will need 4 large eggs, 120 grams of fine white sugar, 120 grams of pastry flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and a few drops of almond extract. That's optional. The eggs should be at room temperature. Place them in the bowl of stand mixer. Beat them for 5 minutes till tripled in volume and turned a light yellow color. Add in the sugar, the vanilla, and the almond extract and beat for 5 more minutes. Whisk together the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. About an eighth of a teaspoon of salt. Pour the flour mixture into the beaten egg mixture. Using a rubber spatula, try to fold the flour mixture into the beaten egg mixture using a swirling movement. Try not to mix too much because we don't want to lose the volume that we created in the eggs. But at the same time, you don't want any lumps of flour in the batter. I'm going to use mini spring-form cheesecake pans, about 8 centimeters in diameter. I buttered and floured the mini cakes and also lined the bottom with parchment paper. I also preheated the oven to 180 Celsius or 370 Fahrenheit. Going to bake the cakes for about 10 to 12 minutes till a puffy and golden brown. I baked the genoise the night before, so now they are completely cooled. To make the cream or the filling, we are going to need 250 milliliters of heavy whipping cream, about 120 grams of powdered sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We are going to use also 120 grams of dark chocolate and about 70 grams of coconuts. Also, I'm going to use pears that are canned in heavy syrup. You can use store-bought as well. To make the cream chantilly, beat the heavy cream that should be very cold for about 5 minutes till foamy. Then add in the powdered sugar and the vanilla and beat for 5 more minutes. Because the area I'm working on is close to the heater, it's kind of difficult to whip the heavy cream. So I'm going to place it in the fridge for about half an hour with the beaters inside the bowl till it's completely cold. Then I'm going to whip it again till firm peaks form. Meanwhile, I'm going to prepare 2 sheets of parchment paper. Add the chocolate to a saucepan with half a teaspoon of vegetable oil. Using a silicone spatula, I'm going to stir and scrape the bottom of the pan with the spatula so the chocolate doesn't get scorched. This way I can melt the chocolate without using a double broiler, but if you don't feel comfortable with this method, you can always use the microwave or a bain-marie. Once the chocolate is melted, I'm going to pour half of it on the prepared parchment paper. Using an offset spatula, I'm going to smooth the chocolate into a very thin layer. Well, actually, not very thin, about medium thick, not too thin and not too thick. Then I'm going to cover the chocolate with the parchment paper and smooth the top with my hands. Using a knife, I'm going to score the chocolate. This is going to make it easier for me later on when the chocolate has hardened in the fridge to cut out the triangles to decorate the cake, but it's actually not it's not a necessary step. You can leave it out. It doesn't make much of a difference. You can cut the triangles from the chocolate easily later on. I'm going to place the chocolate in the fridge for about half an hour till completely firm. Meanwhile, I'm going to cut the genoise in half. For each cake, it's going to be 4 layers, so the 4 cakes are going to make 2 cakes, 4-layer cakes. It's best to use a serrated knife to cut the cake. The 4 layers of the cake are ready. Brush with the syrup. Like I said at the beginning, I'm using homemade canned pears in heavy syrup. You can use store-bought as well. Add a little bit of the cream to the first layer of the cake and smooth with an offset spatula. Don't use too much cream. Um, a small amount is enough. Add pieces of the fruit. I'm using the pears, the canned pears, but you can use any kind of fruit. Actually, pineapples taste great in this recipe. Add the second layer of the cake. Top with the heavy whipped cream, and smooth with the offset spatula. Continue the same till you're done with the 4 layers of the cake. Cake, whipping cream, fruit, cake, whipping cream, fruit, and till you're done with the 4 layers. Top the cake with a generous amount of heavy cream and spread it on top and to the sides of the cake. Like I said, the room I'm working in is very warm, so the whipping cream is kind of getting soft, so it's best to work in a cold place. So as soon as I am done covering the cake with the whipping cream, I'm placing it in the fridge to firm up for about 10 minutes before continuing with the other steps of the decoration of the cake. So here I'm going to put it in the fridge for 10 minutes and repeat the same steps with the other cake. The 2 cakes are cold now. I just got them out of the fridge. Smooth as much as you can the whipping cream with the spatula. Sprinkle the top with shredded coconuts. If you have sweetened shredded coconuts, it's even better. Cover the sides of the cake with the coconuts, but do not use too much because We're going to try to stick the chocolate triangles to the sides of the cake, and if it's covered completely with the coconuts, they're not going to stick. Once the chocolate has completely hardened, cut into triangles. Try to make the triangles as long or the length of the cake. Then stick them to the sides of the cake. The look I was going for is trees and snow. So I'm not sure it came across as trees and snow, but my mother-in-law told me that it looked like a crown. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. I hope you try it and you like it. Bon appetit, and I shall see you soon. Bye.